and thank you for joining with Let's Talk with Chong on our season 2. And I brought on a guest, Dr. Trina. She is a vision coach.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me a little bit about what you do and what exactly is a vision coach versus is all these other life coaches and mental coach and
Um, More of the vision coach is pretty much I give you the strategies you need. A lot of us we have like dreams and visions and things that we've been given and we don't know how to make them come to life. So as the vision coach slash strategist, I give you the tools that you need to birth your project.
okay. Now, with the vision coach, if someone is interested in, let's say, conducting a film,
Hmm.
what type of do you do, like consultation first? Do you have them set up an appointment, do consultation, and that's when you share um, all the little bits and pieces that you guys give?
I do a consultation session. But when we do the consultation session, there are certain things that they have to bring first. So I have them kind of do like the pre-treatment phase. I need you to bring your research. I need you to bring your topic, what it is you want to do, where you want to go with the project, all of those things. Because normally when I take on projects, I don't take on small projects. So I need to make sure that we maximize the potential of where your film can go.
Okay, so for example, I'm doing a TV series about Save Me.
Mm-hmm.
So how would I need to go about that to get your assistance?
To get my assistance, you would probably go to my website to book your consulting session, which is at www.drkatrinapullman.com. You would go there, and once you book your consulting, my assistant or myself will give you a call. And I'll say, Chong, this is what I need you to bring. If you have a treatment already, bring your treatment, bring your budget so I can know how much it's going to cost. Bring where you want your film to be seen? Do you want it on the main screen? Do you want it on television? Or do you want it on a digital platform, which is mostly where a lot of people are going now? They're not even worried about television. They're not worried about the movie screen. They're looking at more of a digital format. So,
Okay, and I just want everyone to know we will be having the website on our screen as well, so that way you'll be able to catch the website. Um, let's talk about what exactly that you do as far as social justice goes,
mhm.
activism.
So for social justice and activism, oh my God, I have a couple platforms that I fight for. So child abuse, specifically child sexual abuse. I currently serve as a national advocate with one of the DA offices up north for their program called Now You See Me. And so with that, they take our eyes, just our eyes. I can send you a picture as well. And they give a summary of our story, and we're able to champion and give affirmations for other individuals who have experienced some type of sexual assault, be it child or be it an adult. And so we've brought on board several influentials to assist us with that campaign. And I also advocate on the behalf of human trafficking awareness, not human trafficking, but human trafficking awareness, steady fighting that because it's so common that it is blind where you don't even see it, but it happens every day.
Absolutely. So, what brought on the social justice topic, like sexual assault, human
Mm-hmm.
trafficking? Was it personally affected by you or someone you know?
It was kind of. I didn't really have the revelation until 3 years ago of why I went into the field that I went into. I went into forensic investigations, from forensic investigations to therapy. But about 3 years ago was when I realized that everything that I had suppressed, I had went through sexual abuse as well through the church and through some other entities. And so I didn't realize I was doing it, but I took what had happened to me and I reached back to help others because when I worked in the field, I'm retired now, but when I worked in the field, it was more of an out of body experience because everybody would ask me, how can you work in that area and don't be affected? It was more of an out of body experience, but for me, as long as I seen someone that was being helped, I was good. When I could not help them, then I had issues. But I had no problems at getting people to confess to the point where law enforcement would call me 4 o'clock in the morning. Can you come help me with this case? And so that was a good feeling, as well as working side by side with all branches of law enforcement and helping them crack cases and then saving a child um, was great for me.
One of the things I am wanting to open up doors is actually getting into the ER.
Mm-hmm.
Because many times victims actually do come through the ER, but a lot of times the staff, the nursing staff,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know how to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to live in Chicago and also in Minnesota, we used to have a volunteer group that would actually work around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
It was only volunteer. And so what that meant was back then, of course, we had pagers. So if you got paged, that means there was a client that came into the ER
Mm-hmm.
that the staff may have suspected that she may be a victim of crime. You didn't have to specify anything, but she was not. The nurse would actually page one of us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would contact the other staff and let them know, or the other volunteers saying, "Hey, I got this,"
Mm-hmm.
and then we would go to the ER. We'd meet with the client. We would just tell them we're advocates here. We're not police. We're not law enforcement. No, we would just, even if the girl didn't say anything and says, "I'm fine, there's nothing wrong, you need to leave," but we just left pamphlets, like resources, and let them know, because sometimes they do call back.
Right.
Say, I wasn't ready to share at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
but right now I need help, and things like that.
And at that moment, they're scared, they're afraid. You don't know who they're running from. But I always found that if you leave the information, they'll call.
Yep.
They'll call. I know some hospitals, we had a partnership with them, so they knew already what to look for, to the point where we had staff who was housed at the hospital, and then they would call us, and then we come out to work with them. One other thing that I would say, because when we talk about human trafficking, we talk about sexual assault, I always tell my parents, especially for your kids, watch what they're doing, where they're going, if they're staying closed up in their rooms, if they're acting out and a teacher or someone is calling you talking about their behavior. Be able to have that open communication where you can dialogue with your child, because a lot of times society will label our kids as ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
has just bad, just has disobedient. But if we don't know what the root of the problem is, we won't be able to help them. And so many times it's because someone has violated your child's privacy and they don't feel comfortable with talking to the parent, but have some type of open communication so they can have that. Because when we're not spending time with our kids, they're always left by themselves. Guess where they're gonna go? They're gonna be on social media. They're gonna be online. It's all kind of hidden agendas there in different platforms that can suck our kids into this world of prostitution, of human trafficking, because they're looking for love. We're not able to get it because as a parent, we're never there.
Exactly. Now, for audience who are watching, and I know some of them have asked me this, what would you say to, what would be your suggestion to kids who don't have active parents, like parents who are on drugs, who are constantly absent? The kids are left by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
For
those
those,
kids.
yeah, for those kids, I would say get a mentor. Find a teacher that you can trust. Find a mentor that you can trust. And for those teachers or for those individuals that work with kids or have access to kids, reach out to us before we jump to conclusion about a child's behavior. Get to know that child. We have a program at my nonprofit, Center of Empowerment for Families and Youth, where we teach darkness to light. And Darkness to Light is a sexual assault prevention and awareness program where we teach individuals what to look for, what are the signs in sexual abuse, so you can know how to assist a child if a child mannerisms has changed.
Now, do you give workshops or any type of luncheon for these type of trainings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
one of the things I want to also enlighten people that you don't have to live in a project. You don't have to live
Oh no.
in a non-affluent neighborhood to also have absent and neglected family.
Right.
There's a lot of, especially in today's society, there's lots of parents that both partners have to work,
Mhm.
where kids are having to defend for themselves.
Mhm.
But even with the parents who are not intentionally neglecting their children, this is something that I believe that parents need to sign up for. If you don't have the time, at least get a mentor
Mhm.
for your child. Make sure that they get along. One of the things that
Or we have to learn how to make those sacrifices.
absolutely
That's
right.
what I do. I try not to travel as much or be away from home as much so I can spend time with my kids. And like with me, I had a brain injury in February, so that allowed me time now where I can be at home with my kids. But before then, when I was actively and I was working and doing all of those things and traveling the country, I made time. So I took events and things if my kids could go with me, and even although I have a sitter for them, I still, they need that parent's touch.
Exactly.
And so sometimes we have to make sacrifices in those areas to make sure that our kids are taken care of.
There's been a couple of times I brought my son with me to a couple of my speaking gigs because with him being a boy, I wanted him to learn values, boundaries, and especially learning about, just anything. It's not just because he's a boy and I wanted him to learn how to, have healthy boundaries with girls, but also healthy boundaries with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would bring him along. I would also talk to him after my speaking gigs. I would ask him, "What are your thoughts? What did you not understand? Let me, and then now, if there's something that I'm going to be sharing that's a little bit more risky, a lot of times, depending on my son's age, I didn't start until he was like 11 or 12. And then what we would do is we would actually go on the Missing and Exploited website and we would do research together. So that he would learn that this is going on, even though you're at age 11 or 12 and this has not affected you, but this is what's going on with other kids who are younger than you. My first rape happened when I was 3 years old, and it continued until I was 6. And I was one of those kids that was very friendly, and I would sit on the adult's lap, not knowing anything, And back in those days, they would look at me as, oh, well, she asked for it.
Right.
Well, I was 5 years old,
And I just thought it was a simple hug and a tickle.
Yeah.
Until I was warned later on about good touches and bad touches. So.
Exactly. We are in the near future. What I plan to do with Let's Talk with Chong, I want to have a little bit more extensive conversation, no more than half an hour, and then be able to do this live. I haven't set a date yet, but I would love for you to come on, on a regular. Maybe we can do a Dr. Trina with John Kim and talk about, some of the behaviors and, what to detect. Because I had someone ask me, well, how do I know if a man who is following my daughter is a trafficker? You may not know that. But the thing is, you don't want to just look for traffickers. You want to look at behaviors. You want to see what is he doing. If she's walking down the hall, you see her walking into.
If he's up in the middle of the night,
exactly.
Where is he gone? A lot of cases that I have had have been where it happened right in the house. Either it was the husband on the child or the siblings or the dad grooming the siblings, the mother leaves the home, the oldest child take the place of the mother. It's so much, and it doesn't have a zip code on it. A trafficker or an sexual abuser don't have a certain face. It's the people really that you wouldn't even suspect that this is going on. And so I know a lot of people ask, well, why would they do it? We don't know people upbringing. And I know for me coming up, my mom what I always say, you have to investigate people's paths, where they've been. And so I always tell people, just be careful of who you have your kids around. Even if they're the father or the mother of your child, you still have to be careful. Keep an eye out on everything, because this is a sickness, and the only way that we can help and cure it is if we educate and we band together to support each other and put a stop to what's going on.
And I think the most important thing is denial. A lot of times we can still be alert and we may think we got everything covered. Like, I know who's not going to go near my child and who isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But even the ones that you do trust, you still need to check them as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things my uncle used to say is trust but verify.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So that doesn't mean you're accusing that person that you do trust, but be able to watch their behaviors towards each other. If there's an uncle that you love and you know that he will never do anything, but still, I would watch how he observes and look at your child. Because you may not be the one that he was interested in. Because I've seen a dynamic in skipping generations.
Yes.
You know, there was a lady one time that contacted me about a couple of months ago, and she wanted to know why she was being molested by her own grandfather, and her sisters weren't. Her sisters called her a liar because he never did anything with them. He only did this with her. So, you know, people always assume that predators will do this to every child. That's not necessarily true. They have their, I hate to say this, but they have their favorites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not going to always attack every little girl, you know. So it's really important, because I hear parents say to me, oh, I got this. Mm-hmm. Do you? You know, and I'm not saying that you don't. But even me as a parent, I still have to check myself. I still have to make sure, who do I bring in my home?
Yeah.
How do they interact with my son? How does my son interact with them? Mm-hmm. So I got to look at that as well.
Mm-hmm. So those are good points, John, and those are what I live by. Even when my son, my youngest one is 11, when he goes to the bathroom in a public place, I'm standing outside the door. If he takes too long, I let them know I'm coming in.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, we just have to be careful, because predators are they're everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back. You never know, we might come back with part 2.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, I want to give a shout out to Cedra Stevenson. I got your shirt. I am worth it. And she is selling her shirts now. I'll be sending that information towards the end of the show. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great day. Bye.